In this factory, innovation is at work. AMP Control is an example of how the New South Wales Hunter region is moving away from coal. About a decade ago, the electrical engineering company diversified.
So this is a sub-assembly for the world's first domestic hydrogen battery.
Most of AMP Control's operations are in the marginal Labor seats of Hunter and Paterson.
So either party that gets in, I think there'll be money spent up here in this part of the world.
The boss, Rod Henderson, wants the major parties to back future industries.
I think if we can establish the Hunter Valley as a hydrogen hub, that will be a wonderful start, because both upstream and downstream it will generate opportunities, and it will continue to generate innovation here in the Hunter.
The seat of Hunter has been Labor heartland for more than a century. But after Joel Fitzgibbon's vote was smashed at the last election, it's marginal. In a field of 8, Labor's Dan Rapopoli is up against frontrunner James Thompson from the Nationals. Preference flows from One Nation and its former candidate, now independent Stuart Bonds, could dent Labor's vote.
The big thing about the Hunter at the moment is trying to find ways to increase our diversity.
Business leaders say a lot has changed since 2019, when Labor lost votes because of its policies on climate change.
The region, even in that short period of time, has grown up, as it were.
The reality is corporate Australia is walking away from fossil fuels. And while there's still a big export market for coal mined here in the Hunter, voters want a clear plan from politicians to help them transition to a clean energy future.
All 3 major coal-fired power stations in the Hunter will close early. Liddell next year, Araring in 2025 and Bayswater from 2030. Sue Gilroy represents businesses in Singleton. She's also a member of and former state election candidate for the Shooters and Fishers Party. She warns many voters are unhappy with the major parties, something that was evident at the last federal election, when One Nation picked up more than a fifth of first preference votes.
We keep talking about understanding and transitioning and evolving and all those things, but we haven't really got an overarching plan that the people in the street can understand.
In the neighbouring marginal electorate of Paterson, similar issues are at play. Kurri Kurri is where Labor polled strongest in the seat in 2019.
Kurri Kurri in itself is a small community, but it represents a fair amount of what Australians are thinking.
Coal industry veteran of 48 years, Jim Knowles, says locals want an explanation of the alternatives to coal.
They all know there is inevitability. It's going to finish. It's going to stop. But they're all worried about, what do we do to replace those jobs?
Paterson voters tend to change parties every couple of elections. Meryl Swanson holds the seat by 5%. She's up against 6 candidates and will face tough competition from the Liberals frontrunner Brooke Vitnell. Zumba studio owner Lorna Davies is feeling positive about the electorate's economic recovery. She wants more investment in community services.
Hospital is just not big enough for us now. And also when it rains a lot, there's a lot of potholes on the roads.
The affluent town of Nelson Bay is where the Liberals polled strongest in Paterson.
It's an area that's popular with retirees. Some locals even jokingly call it God's waiting room. And people here are talking about jobs, the environment, access to aged care and tourism.
Down at the marina after a tough couple of years during COVID, not all of cruise boat operator Ian Cutbush's views on politics are suitable for television.
There we go. You would have to bit me out if I told you what I actually think of them. I'm just trying to focus on what I'm doing at the moment to survive.
Ian wants the next government to keep the international border open.
I don't know if the COVID's going to come back worse and we're going to get closed up again.
They need some hope for the future. Being a tourist destination, we've had such a downturn in local businesses, and particularly all those micro and small businesses.
When it comes to jobs, this region is as much about tourism as it is about coal. Adam Elborn wants to see more international visitors at his winery in the Hunter electorate.
If they can just keep that momentum going, keep things growing here, I can see a huge future for the oldest wine region in Australia, for sure.
So this is the latest release Chardonnay?
The industry also wants a fresh approach to trade relations. China's boycott of Australian wine means exports have plummeted.
I think we need to promote our wines through Wine Australia, Tourism Australia to other markets globally. Maybe not rely on China so much.
Key electorates that want more than just a fear campaign about job losses in the coal industry.